Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I'm in the building, ladies and gentlemen. This is the shoot around. If you're not familiar, get familiar with it real quick. We're going to talk about IQ being snubbed from the Rising Stars game, ladies and gentlemen. We got some other things on tap as well. We'll talk about Derrick Rose and give you some updates on his COVID-19 protocol. James Harden, he's going to get his jersey retired in Houston. Yeah, we're gonna chop it up. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into IQ, if you're into hip-hop music, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe to The Front Stoop. I've been down for a couple of months, but I'm going back live on March 10th. I want you to be part of that community. The same community we have here with NBK, we're building the same thing on The Front Stoop. We already got about 30,000 subscribers, but we need you to be there to join us. Anyway, let's get to IQ. According to Ian Begley, ladies and gentlemen, neither Immanuel Quickley nor Obi Toppin was selected for the U.S. team in the Rising Stars game, per the NBA's announcement of rosters. There's no surprise that Obi Toppin didn't make it. No surprise there whatsoever. We get it. I'm a little bit surprised that Immanuel Quickley did not make the Rising Stars game. Very surprised. He's one of the top 5 rookies in the NBA. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. As a matter of fact, in the most recent rookie ladder that came out today, Immanuel Quickley moved up to number 3. So these rosters came out today. Immanuel Quickley moves up to number 3 today, as far as all rookies in the NBA. But he's snubbed from the Rising Stars game? I don't get it. Now, from what I understand, the Rising Stars game is made up of 5 rookies and 5 sophomores. I get that. But if Immanuel Quickley is one of the top 5 rookies in the NBA, according to the NBA's very own rookie ladder, talk to me, people. How is he snubbed from the Rising Stars game? Should we be upset about it? I don't know. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? According to Ian Begley, here's the roster for the U.S. team in the Rising Stars: LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, DeAndre Hunter, Keldon Johnson, John Morant, Michael Porter Jr., Zion Williamson, and James Wiseman. Immanuel Quickley, according to Ian Begley, put together a strong case for a spot. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a tough crowd. Okay? That's a tough team. LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero. You know, you got three rookies up there: LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton. I thought it was supposed to be 5 and 5. We got a few more second-year players than we got first-year players, but hey, whatever. Only 10 players? Why can't you go 15? Come on, man. IQ should be in there. He's one of the top rookies in the NBA. He should be in this Rising Stars game. On the other hand, R.J. Barrett, he's in the... He's one of the rising stars for the world team. I get it. He's from Canada. Makes sense. All right, so he is a sophomore, and he's on the world team. But IQ was snubbed, man. Think he was. Listen, I know it was a tough crowd. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a tough crowd to crack. It's right on the cusp. You know. Anyway, maybe Michael Porter Jr.'s back will be hurting. IQ will get in. Not wishing that on him. Or maybe he'll want to rest his back. How about I say that? Not that his back is hurt. Maybe he'll want to rest his back. IQ will get in. Somehow, some way, Immanuel Quickley should have been there, man. He's one of the top 5 rookies in the NBA. He moved up to top 3 in the NBA's rookie ladder. Snubbed, ladies and gentlemen. Snubbed. The young man was snubbed. I got Big Bubba here with me making all kinds of noise in the background. This, that, and the third. because he's in a place where he can't get into any silence. But let's see what he has to say about it. And I'm going to open up the phone line so I can hear what you guys got to say about it. Then we'll talk about some other things. We're going to talk about Derrick Rose, like I said. We'll talk about James Harden and all that kind of stuff. Big Bubba, man, what's going on with you, brother? Talk to me, man. Let me get the music out of there. There you go. You got a lot of stuff going on in the background, but go ahead, man.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so basically, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, son. I think this was a complete snub. I think this was just really disrespectful to Immanuel Quickley. I get LaMelo, I get Tyrese, but I mean, after those two, can you really say that James Wiseman or the other kid, Anthony Edwards, has been better than Quickley? I don't think so, man. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Quickley has 7 25-point games. He leads the rookies in that. Everything he's doing, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's crazy to me saying that.
I mean, listen, I don't know what you can.
I think it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know what you can do about it, and you're freezing up on me over there, Isaiah. So I'm gonna have to mute you out, man. I don't know if you can get into someplace a little bit better, but you keep freezing. It's unfortunate, but listen, he seems to be the kind of kid that's going to take it personal, right? He's going to take it personal. He's going to say, all right, you guys snub me. Watch what I'm going to do for the remainder of the year. I get it. And I hope he wears that chip on his shoulder and takes it to whoever he needs to take it to. It bothers me a little bit because, like I said, this man was today considered one of the top 5 rookies, one of the top 3 rookies in the NBA. So if you're considered one of the top 3 rookies in the NBA, I just don't understand how you can't be on that team. Now, I was just asked the question, are they having a game? I don't know. Maybe they just named the team and they're not actually having a game. Right? I don't see a time for the game.
They're not having a game. They're not having a game, Sam. They only named they only did that list.
Okay, well, this is what I'm reading from the NBA. It says the NBA Rising Stars, the league's annual showcase of premier young talent during NBA All-Star, will not be played this year due to the limitation of having All-Star events all in one night. To recognize deserving players, the NBA kept the custom of having the league's assistant coaches vote for Rising Stars rosters, which comprise 10 first- and second-year NBA players from the United States and 10 first- and second-year NBA players from outside of the United States, which is the world team. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it right there. So IQ was snubbed from the Rising Stars game. It's not going to be played. It would have been very nice for him to be named to the Rising Stars game. But hey, it is what it is. We'll take it, I guess. We'll take what he is. Again, he is considered one of the top 3 rookies in the Kia rookie ladder. Right? Immanuel Quickley moved up to number 3. This was just today, ladies and gentlemen. Just today. Divine, what's popping with you, man? How you feeling?
What up, Sam? What's going on, brother?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. Our boy IQ got snubbed, man. He got snubbed from the Rising Stars team. Got snubbed.
Nah. He one of the top 3 to 5 rookies in the NBA this year, man. What?
Young man got snubbed, but you know what? He's gonna wear it on the sleeve. Wear it on the sleeve. I get it. Now, you know what? And check it out. Teams don't like Quickley. You know why they don't like Quickley? Because he gets fouled, and they don't understand how he keeps getting fouled. They don't like it. That's what it is. That's what I'm sticking to. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's my story. I'm sticking to it, man. They don't like the fact that he's able to draw so many fouls, so they got him out of there. Once again, if you're just joining us, man, Immanuel Quickley snubbed from the Rising Stars game. According to Ian Begley, neither Obi Toppin or Immanuel Quickley was selected for the U.S. team in the Rising Stars game. And listen, Obi Toppin didn't deserve to be there. Immanuel Quickley does. According to Ian Begley, you have for the U.S. team in the Rising Stars game, and not really the game, but at least the list of players, you have LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, DeAndre Hunter, Keldon Johnson, John Morant, Michael Porter Jr., Zion Williamson, James Wiseman. Tough list. No doubt about it. That's a tough list to crack. But still, talk to me, Divine. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, man. You know what? That's hard. Quickly been balling on it all year long. You know what I think the hate is? Because he getting an exposure in New York City. I think they hate because he getting exposure. You know what I mean? A lot of these rookies under the radar. I mean, Wiseman, obviously, LaMelo Ball, Keldon Johnson. I mean, they team winning as well. Halliburton. See, I don't know about that, man. I think Quickley should be up in there, no question. He should have been recognized in there because he having a good year, and the numbers he put up for a rookie is pretty impressive, and we winning. You know what I mean? We're a 500 ball club, so I don't know what's the criteria why he got snubbed, but I think he got snubbed though, as far as the rookie is concerned, anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Hunter, he been hurt. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I mean, right they could have expanded that thing to 12. The NBA All-Star game is 12. Right. Why is the rookie game not 12? Come on, man. Like, come on. Anyway.
What, 10? 10?
It's 10. 10 players. 10 players for the U.S. team, 10 players for the world team.
And they're not even playing, right? The game?
No, they're not playing the game. They're not playing the game.
Well, they come out just win a 15-man roster. If they're not playing, they might
That's
just
what
like
I'm
the regular
saying.
NBA team.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They're not even playing, so it's not like they're even going to be in the arena. You might as well just go ahead and name. Anyway.
Yeah, that's bogus.
Yeah.
That's bogus
IQ,
right there, man.
If you're watching, wear it on your sleeve, young blood. Wear it on your sleeve. Take it out on every single team that has a player that made the Rising Stars game. Take it out on their neck. Or float it on their neck. You ain't dunking on them. Float it on their neck. You know what I'm saying? Do that. Let me get you a phone call, man, and then we'll talk about Derrick Rose. Caller, you are live. What's popping with you?
My question is, I thought there should have been a number of 5 and 5.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So, but why did it change? Could you ask that question for me?
I have no idea why it's not 5 and 5. I thought at least I thought maybe that's what it's supposed to be. But it's not. You know, I guess they can choose. I guess it doesn't have to be 5 and 5. I guess it could be, they choose 10 for each team, right? 10 first-year players or a mixture of first-year and second-year players. It doesn't matter the number, just 10 for each team, I guess.
That just was my thought. Just had a, food for thought.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, man.
Enjoy your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, man. Anyway, Immanuel, Quickley, like I said, go ahead and do your thing, man. Let's talk about Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose is obviously important to this team, and he missed last night's game because of the NBA health and safety protocols when his COVID-19 test came back inconclusive. Okay, came back inconclusive. So obviously that always causes a dilemma, right? It could mean anything. So you have to keep him out. Since then, he's tested negative and he's been cleared to fly back to New York. If he continues to test negative, he'll be able to play tomorrow versus Detroit. So let's just hope that it was that test that came back inconclusive, for whatever the reason is, and he's able to play against Detroit. We're going to need him against Detroit. You know what I mean? I didn't like the way that we looked last night without Derrick Rose. I didn't feel like we were, we just lacked that leadership. You know what I mean? And we need Derrick Rose out there on the floor. He provides something that no other guard on our team can provide. So hopefully everything is good with him and his family and everybody that's around him. He's safe. That's always going to be first and foremost. We hope that he's safe and healthy but then we hope that he comes back. Again, according to Ian Begley, the reason that Derrick Rose missed last night's game is because he came back with an inconclusive COVID-19 test. He has since tested negative and has been cleared to fly back to New York. And if he continues to test negative, he'll be able to play tomorrow versus Detroit. And, the players get tested every day. You know what I mean? And, they've got to, because they're flying to so many cities. Now you have fans in the stands, and, sometimes you're going to be within feet of a fan. If they're sitting courtside, you're going to come into contact with people. If you have COVID-19, it can quickly become a super spreader, right? Spreading to the other team, spreading to fans, so on and so forth. So they've got to get tested every day. And if you come back with an inconclusive test, you got to take the necessary precautions to make sure that you're protecting everybody. So I'm hoping that he's going to be able to play tomorrow night versus Detroit, because we need him out there, Devon. We desperately need his leadership.
No doubt. Yeah, man. But you could tell in the game last night, like you said, nobody going downhill, nobody to put Julius Randle and all the guys in certain places to get them comfortable. And I know Frank good, but he's not Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? He's just not that dude. So, yeah, I'd love to see him back for that closeout game before the All-Star break. Because, like he said, we do need him. I mean, we injured all over the place. Not injured, but I mean, Elfrid Payton down, Mitchell Robinson down. Now, if he down and Austin Rivers, he injured, though he's not playing, but he's still injured. So, yeah, we need Derrick Rose, bad, because I think he's just that spark for the injury, you know what I mean? He gets that team going. I mean, literally, he puts some guys in the right spots. And I think Julius Randle even feed off of him. I mean, I guess it's a give and take. He's 3-0 when we're starting, and when he ain't playing, we lost. So I guess that tell you how important he is to that starting lineup that's Elfrid Payton down, because with him and Elfrid out, that's a tough task for the Knicks to overcome, man. And it showed in the game last night, one of the major reasons why they lost. But yeah, we need D Rose, man. Frank might have gave you the same point, but Frank ain't giving you everything else that D Rose giving you. Right. And I just think that's how we missed that last night. Right.
And I think that Austin Rivers, man. I mean, you talk about somebody being in the doghouse. This man ain't in the doghouse. Tom Thibodeau sent this guy to the pound. He said, he sent him to the pound. He told him, he said, hey, this is a stray dog. Take him. You know what I mean? Last night, if you talk about a player being situational and maybe he does have, some kind of an ankle problem, which Tom Thibodeau did reveal last night, the post game. But he's not even close to getting off the bench. Tom Thibodeau's not even looking his way. I hope for his sake that he just goes, they go ahead and they find a place for him and he can get traded. He's a guy that's been in the league, for a lot of years. He's 28 years old. He should be at the peak of his powers. Right? But at this point, he's just not able to get out there and play. He hasn't played well for us besides a couple of games. So it's not like he's come out and he was just lighting it up. He hasn't really played well. So I do hope that the Knicks are able to find a team for him someplace, so that he can go ahead and get his thing in and try to revamp his career, if that's what you want to say. Now, I did read in an article last night that Tom Thibodeau was maybe upset with him for talking about trades in one of the post-game interviews or post-workout interviews. Right? He was asked about the possibility of being traded, and his comments were kind of like, I could get traded. I'll leave that up to such and such, and boom, 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 boom. So maybe Tom Thibodeau's a little bit upset about that. I don't know. Somewhere, somehow, some way, Tom Thibodeau does not believe that Austin Rivers brings to the team what he expected.
Yeah, I agree. And not only that, that's an in-house thing. You don't put that out there, man. Whether you think you're going to get traded or not, you don't put that out there to the media. You should just keep that where it's supposed to be under wraps. And then I didn't notice him in the injury report the other day. I mean, like usually before the game and tell you who's available, who's not available. And unless he got injured during pregame, I mean, that's unusual for the Knicks to say, Tom Thibodeau say that he hurt his ankle, but we didn't see it in, like you said, normally you post who's playing in the game, who's injured, who's not injured. I didn't see that in there yesterday, that he wasn't playing because of his ankle, unless I just missed it or whatever. But I think that's a bad look for Austin Rivers, man. But it's time to move on. Sam, you know what? Even if you just can get a second for him, if you don't put him in a trade package, you can get a second for him. Just move him, man. You know what I mean? And I think what that does also is it takes any type of negativity. Not that he's a negative person. I'm not saying that, but a negative feeling on the bench. You know what I mean? Like he's feeling some type of way. Just move on from him, man. We tried to get him in here. He didn't work out. Cut your losses and move on, man. You know what I mean? Exactly. I think they just need to do that if they're not going to put him in a trade package.
Exactly. And I'm not even. I don't even think that Austin Rivers is, like being negative on the bench or negative in the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. You never know. We're not there, but I don't think that he is. But it probably just makes sense to go ahead and move on and let things be, right? Frank Ntilikina, though, last night, he played well last night. He did. He played well, right? He shot it well from three. His jump shot looks good. His form looks good. He is destined, though, to me, to be what Reggie Bullock is for the Knicks a little bit. Well, maybe not exactly what Reggie Bullock is, but kind of what Reggie Bullock is to the Knicks. A guy that can play defense, shoot the three if he can continue to shoot the way that he's been shooting the ball from the three-point line. It looks good when he's letting it go. Every time he's letting it go, it looks good, right? If he can continue to do those things, he'll find a spot. And I'm not even going to say in the league, on this team, in my opinion, right? Because he is a good defender. He can chase guys around screens. He's going to have mishaps, right? He had a mishap before the half where he let Patty Mills get free and knock down that three with 0.8 seconds left. He's going to have mishaps. Everybody does. But I think he has a place. If he can shoot that three, he has a place. He doesn't have to be your start point guard and all that kind of stuff. He can play offense the way that he plays offense. But I think he proved last night that he could be that 3-and-D guy. He's been proven this year. I think he could be that 3-and-D guy. So I would not. Well, I don't want to say this year. He's been proven in the games that he's been back that he can be that 3-and-D guy. I just want to tell people, don't be so quick to think that Frank Ntilikina is just all of a sudden the Knicks are going to say, "Nah, we don't want you on this team." They may look and say, "You know what? There's a spot for this guy on this team. And we can use the skill set that he brings, at least until we find someone who does it better than him." And as the team shifts over next year, look, Frank may still be only making $4 to $5 million next year, depending on how they structure his contract. Still he might make $4 to $5 million. He's making $6 million this year. Maybe he makes $4 to $5 million or something like that per year, right? I would rather pay a Frank Ntilikina who can possibly give you the same production as Reggie Bullock, $4 to $5 million per year, right? Because he's young, he's going to be 22 years old, he still can grow, still can get better. I'd rather pay him the money than a Reggie Bullock. You know what I mean? I'd rather do that. So I think that I wouldn't be so quick to just say Frank Ntilikina is not going to be here next year. He could be. I think he could be. As long as he plays the role the way that he needs to. And he's a guy that if you have him out there, he can, if you really need someone to help you out playing the one, he can help you out playing the one. He's not going to be your primary point guard, but he can help you out playing the one too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward. Well, I think that the Knicks are going to keep him around. There's a good chance, let's say that.
Yeah, I think what you said was on point, though, because he can handle the ball. You know what I mean? You could put Frank from 1 to 3. 1 to 3, he'll give you that same good defense. If he's knocking down that three-pointer like he's been knocking down all year, I mean, and his defense on ball, man, is amazing. I mean, from his full court pressure is amazing. So I mean, you're right. Do I agree with you? A lot of people might think, he might be gone, but if Frank ain't gone before the trading deadline, they're going to re-sign him. Because I really think that if they weren't going to keep him, they'd get something for him. You know what I mean? I think they'd get more for him than Austin Rivers. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, and so I think they don't trade him by the deadline. Frank will be back, and I have no problem with it because his defense is special. And he's knocking down that 3-point ball, it's real good. And between Alex Burks, Reggie Bullock, and Austin Rivers, I mean, Frank definitely got Austin Rivers' spot. And I think if they move on from Alex Burks and he giving you what Alex Burks giving you, but he got better defense, maybe not as more scoring. But if Frank Ntilikina did what he did last night, Frank's staying on that team. I just believe that if he give you what he gave you last night, he'll stay here.
And if he continues over the next, we got one more game. He gets playing time. And then you got the All-Star break, and then there's a few games before the trade deadline hits. If he continues to play and he's playing well, what this does for Tom Thibodeau, what this does for the coaching staff is it allows you to throw Alec Burks into a trade or Reggie Bullock, one of those two guys. It allows you to throw one of those two guys into a trade because you're saying Frank can give us some of what they give us. He may not be as prolific as Alec Burks, but Alec Burks you can't depend on him, right? I would rather have a guy that I know is going to give me 8 points a game in defense, and I can depend on that every single night, than someone who is, you just never know what's going to happen with Burks. You know what I mean? I mean, and you put him in there and say, okay, we need you to be a spark plug, and he can't be a spark plug. I like to have someone that I know I know what I'm getting from that person. That way I can build around it. And if you could, so what I think Frank Ntilikina, if he can continue to play well and show that he can knock down that 3 ball, it now opens it up for more, more trade possibilities at the deadline. Kareem, what's going on with you, man? Let me get to you before you fall asleep. What's going on with you, bro?
How's it going, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you feeling?
Right. I'm well. Can't complain, man.
All right.
Yeah, good, man.
Talk to me about last night a little bit, and then we'll continue to talk about Frank Ntilikina and the guards that we have on this team.
Yeah, definitely. Once I saw that Derrick Rose wasn't gonna play, I felt we were gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of me down talking Frank's abilities, but it's just, when you have someone in a starting lineup on just lineups period, and that person's not there, it can throw things off. And I don't think people realize, like, this winning streak that we were on, a player like Derrick Rose, he knows how to set people up, get them in their spots, and we missed that last night.
Right.
We did not guard the 3-point shot. We sucked at that last night. It was bad. And this is a team that played a back-to-back. We should have been way more competitive than what we were. We looked like we played the previous night. We looked sluggish. But you know what? I'm not mad. If this was a losing season, I'd be pissed off. But can't win them all. Let's go to Detroit. Let's give them the barbecue chicken treatment. Blow them out the water, and then go to the All-Star break.
Yeah, without a doubt. Do you see Frank Ntilikina staying here?
Yes, I think they're going to extend them after. I believe we spoke about this before. Well, he'll be extended after we do what we do through the free agency and everything on the off season. But I do see him staying here because, like you said, we know what he gives us, and he does it consistently. Because even during the loss, when I look at Frank, I'm like, damn, this dude is really, like, defensively sound, man. It's like it's just natural to him, and you know, I believe that he'll stay. He'll definitely be here next year.
Yeah. Nah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think he will be here. As a matter of fact, he may end up.
Shots looking amazing, man.
His shots looking good. His shots looking really good.
Yes.
It's just, you know, he doesn't bring what you need from a point guard standpoint because that's not what he is. But his shot does look good. Shot definitely looks good, and if he can continue to do that, it'll be, you know, he'll have a spot. They'll have to move some people, right? Move some people, and I think they'll look to do that. As a matter of fact, we were talking about Austin Rivers, and of course he's out of the lineup, way out of the lineup. But if you can get a second round pick for Austin Rivers, if you can package Austin Rivers and Alec Burks to go someplace, I don't know what team would want those guys. Maybe a team looking to, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know, I could see maybe a team. I guess I could see maybe a team wanting those guys for, you know, some bench depth, right? And willing to give you a second round pick for either one of them.
Well, let me ask you a real quick question, Sam. I'm thinking this. You may be right, but I think this season is going to be somewhat different come the trade deadline because we are in playoff contention. So I agree that they may get packaged off, but I think that we might go after a big man and maybe two knockdown shooters if we can get it, 2 spot-up shooters, because we're gonna need that going into the playoffs. But I do agree because with Austin Rivers, if you notice, look at the sideline, he's the only one pouting right now. When you see his body language and his facial expressions, he's the only one unhappy. You know, but like you said earlier, I believe that Tibbs didn't like what he was giving them, you know?
Yeah, hey, Sam, you know what would be a perfect scenario? If you could do Bullock, Burks, and Austin Rivers. The only reason I say it because they all aspirants. Send them down to Orlando, get Terrence Ross, and that way Frank gets Frank. Check it out. Frank and Terrence Ross will be in the starter. But they'd be in the lineup because in the lineup, them 3. Frank get a spot, and Terrence Ross gets a spot. Terrence Ross will give us what Alex Burks giving us and more probably. And Frank gets to play the backup, consistently, and then Frank get to play in the rotation. Then you get rid of 3 for 2.
That would be so perfect for us, but I think they probably want more than that. And I guess it would depend on what Orlando is deciding to do, right? If Orlando is like, you know, we just want to get rid of this guy's contract, you know, so that we can clear up some space and we can kind of start over, then they might consider something like that, right? Because you know, you send him those 3 guys, that's going to make up his salary. You also send him a second round pick. You bring him in, it opens up space for Ntilikina, opens up space for Terrence Ross. You don't lose any defense, I don't think. Terrence Ross is a decent defender. I don't think you lose much defense. Something like that could work. And it's a move that doesn't really hurt you. Yeah, Terrence Ross takes up some of the salary for the next 2 years, but you know his salary caps out at in his last year, he's making $12.5 million. That's not bad. It's not bad.
Not at all. He worth it though.
It's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Now,
can I ask you a question real quick, Sim?
Yeah.
So, because I'm thinking, boom, we get him, right? We still got some money to play with, right?
If we traded those 3
so
guys,
like 15, 14.
If we traded those 3 guys, then if we traded those 3 guys for Terrence Ross, you know, threw them a draft pick, a second round draft pick, maybe 2 second round draft picks in 2023, right? Because you know those draft picks are going to be nice. And who knows? You know, who knows? But if they did something like that, yes, they'd still have that $15 million that they could spend, that they could use to bring in another player. So yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got options, man. I was gonna say even let's say boom, will we be able to do this let's say if we don't want that because we still got money we can get off the books next year too.
Mhm.
Let's say we don't want that 12.5 you said, I don't know the exact number, next year. Can we put some of that money towards that? I don't know how that would work like the financial rules to the NBA.
You mean, could you put some of that 15 million towards some of that 15 million towards Terrence Ross?
Yeah, like a partial buyout or something where it won't hurt us financially next season.
Well,
as salary cap is concerned.
Not really. Any way that we bring him in, because
I don't know how to word it because I don't.
Yeah, any way that you bring him in, his contract is going to extend beyond this season. You're going to have to pay him in those seasons anyway. But I think he'd be worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because
that makes sense.
He's a guy that can go get it. You know what I mean? He's not a superstar. Yeah, I think he has all-star talent, but he's been inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't been able to put it together to be an... Yeah, right. I think he has all-star talent, and there's a lot of guys in the NBA that have all-star talent but can't put it all together. I think he's one of those guys that can do that. And on any given night, he can give you 30. He can be prolific on any given night. You know what I mean? Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live. What's poppin'?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
What's going on, gents?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good. This is Billy from Jersey City.
Hey, Billy.
Yeah, your man Big Bubba called me Billy last week.
Billy.
I'm not sure
I remember.
He got that name, but I'll just roll with it.
I don't know. Big Bubba hears stuff that we don't hear. Yeah, he hears stuff that we don't hear. You know what I mean?
Look, man, you guys were talking about IQ getting snubbed. I couldn't agree more. But you know who I think is really getting snubbed in the last week? I think Knicks fans are getting snubbed, and I'm talking to the traditional legacy sports media, Hearst Corporation, ESPN, Walt Disney, Max Kellerman, Rich Eisen, Chris Bouchard, Rob Parker. These guys and more. I don't know if you're watching them. I try not to, but they're out there talking like the word that they're using is sad. They're calling Knicks fans sad for being happy and excited about this season. We're finally doing things the right way. We're finally competitive, and they're saying basically that we should overlook this, and we should be more enticed by the shiny object in Brooklyn with the 3 Hall of Famers that are basically just gonna waltz into a championship, right. And we're supposed to be all about that. And to me, I feel like what you guys are doing right now, you guys are talking about the details of the long-term plan for basically our rotation on our 7th, 8th, and 9th man, right? That's what real fans do. That's what real. I mean, fans watch every game. We're watching Frank. We're watching these guys that they might not have a future with the team, and we're thinking maybe they could. All right. Maybe he could have a future with the team. And it's like there's none of that going on, and you just keep doing what you're doing. I couldn't be prouder of this team right now. This is the best season in the last 20 years, even compared to the 2013 team, which was a fun team. But we knew that was going to be short-lived because everybody was basically old.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. This is a great thing going on right now, and just keep at it. And anyway, I just felt like we were snubbed. To me, being a real fan is this. It's watching your organization finally get it right.
Exactly. And listen, we deserve to be happy about it.
Right.
KFTV was on Max Kellerman yesterday. You guys might have seen that, right?
Yep.
And, he represented for Knicks fans. Because, Max Kellerman always got something slick to say about the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? He used to be a fan, and then he went over to be a Lakers fan and all of that trash. He went on there, he represented. And that's the reason why fans are saying, you know what, forget about that. They don't really know what's going on with our team. We're going to go check out programs like this. So I appreciate you, man.
Exactly. Me too.
I appreciate you.
Keep at it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it is true, man. They be coming at Knicks fans, trying to smack around Knicks fans and all that kind of stuff. we just gonna keep representing the way we represent. We're gonna do it the way we do it.
Just
And we
wait.
got our own New York Knicks. That's why we got Legion of Knicks and Blonde's Tears and Die Hard Knicks podcast and Knicks Real Talk. Right. We got Knicks and Bruises. You know, we got these guys out there that can go ahead and put it down. You know what I'm saying? And talk about our team objectively.
And you're all the future, man.
Exactly.
Y'all are the future of media, man.
That's it. And we can talk about it objectively. We know when our team is terrible. We know when it's terrible. You know what I'm saying? And we deserve this. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Yo, what's up, y'all? Salute the panel. Salute y'all show. Man, y'all super dope. I'll be watching y'all dang near every day, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem. I just wanted to say one statement, and then I'm gonna hang up and keep enjoying the show.
All right.
Now, it just seems that I just want to let y'all know, man. Look, brace yourself, man. For real, man. I've been dealing with these type of issues all my basketballs ever since I become a fan of Derrick Rose, man. This has been happening to me, man. I'm starting to see the same pattern, man. So I'm letting y'all know, just brace yourself because it's about to be a lot of weird stuff going on. I've been seeing it there since Derrick Rose got over there. If you look at all the games that we done had, it's been a discrepancy with the whistle. We haven't had the advantage of the whistle all the last 10 games we played with them. And if you really pay attention, the games that the whistle was kind of close, it was because they started calling the fouls at the end of the fourth quarter. So whether we up by 20 or down by 20, they will call the fouls at the end of the fourth quarter to kind of make it look like it ain't like how it is. But, man, I'm just being honest with y'all, man. Brace yourself. The NBA, they doing the same. They did the same thing to Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury. When they try to blackball a player, they're not just coming and attacking their character, or they're going to attack the team, the organization, everything that player is associated with. They're going to attack it. It doesn't make sense that it is kind of a coincidence that morning before the San Antonio game, every media outlet was talking about the Knicks. Mm-hmm. Every media outlet. And the message was consistent with, you guys need to just chill out. Nothing's happening. You're sad.
That's
and
true.
Guess what happened right before the game? Derrick Rose, COVID testing or something like that. So I'm just letting y'all know, man, I enjoy the show, and I hope the Knicks can pull it around. I hope Tom Thibodeau got some pull in the NBA. Hope James Dolan can make some calls, make some changes, because something has to be done because this is going to continue. But appreciate y'all show, man, and salute to y'all.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. And, you know, he's right. It was consistent all day long, you know, or, you know, for the past couple of days of people just, you know, Knicks fans look at them, you know, they're dancing in the street. Our guy Julito had the video, right? And it got on ESPN, guys dancing in the street because we made it to 500 and people laughing, this, that, and the third. You know what? I don't care about them. We got our own little world right here. We just gonna go ahead and rock with what we do. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's crazy, Slim? I always say, man, you with the team, you know what I'd be doing, man? If the team wasn't doing it, if I was Coach Thibodeau, I'd be showing this crap to them every pregame so they could use it to bust ASS. Use it to motivate you. And we all know this is not a fluke, man. We know this dude is coming into his own, Julie. We know it's not a fluke. It's been consistent. You're not going to win them all, you know. But I predict that second half of the season we get even better, and some moves are coming, so the team is going to, get some more scoring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not, man. Please use it. Use it as motivation.
Yeah, I feel you. JD, what's popping with you, man? We've been talking about, you know, a myriad of things here today. Most importantly, we've been talking about the Knicks guard situation. You know, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, Frank Ntilikina, Elfrid Payton, Derrick Rose. Just kind of breaking down what might happen in the future because Frank Ntilikina is making a case to say, hey, I deserve to be on the floor too. Right? And Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau likes to stick with his guns. He does what he's going to do. We were talking about it last night, JD. Tom Thibodeau he says, hey, I got my guys and I'm playing my guys. I got my rotation, I'm playing my rotation. You seen last night, JD pointed it out. Frank Ntilikina, no matter what happened in that first quarter, he was in there till about 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And then you seen the subs start coming in. In the third quarter, although he was scoring though, right? He knocked down 3 threes in a row, I think. Still, he was in there till about 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Then here come the subs. This is Tom Thibodeau's rotation. And I get the feel like Frank Ntilikina could have knocked down 10 threes in a row in that 7-minute span, and Tom Thibodeau would have taken him out because that's his rotation. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care how many points you score, this and that. I want to see if we get a night, which it probably won't happen on this team. But remember back when Melo scored 62 against Charlotte, right? Mike Woodson, he left him in there in the fourth quarter so he can break the record, and then he took him out. I wonder, would Tom Thibodeau do the same thing for one of these players if they're close to breaking some kind of scoring record? Or would he say, hell no, I don't give a damn about that record. Get your ass on the bench. What do you think, JD? Would he do it? If Julius Randle, for some reason, just got super hot, he was at the Garden, he had dropped 60 points already, 62 points. He was already at 62, right? And there's 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Knicks are up by 35. Well, Tom Thibodeau's probably going to keep him in the game anyway, right? But
right,
he's probably going to keep him in the game. Let's say it's 2 minutes left. The Knicks are up. Julius Randle has a chance to break the record. Tom Thibodeau's ready to make his rotation. Do you think he says, I'm going to let Tom... Let me let Randle get the record, or does he say, I don't care, I'm pulling him?
I think it depends on how the game is going. He doesn't... I don't think he cares. I really don't... I don't even know if he, as he's coaching the game, I don't know that he's even aware of the stats, and all he has to do is look up at the screen. I don't think Tibbs is even aware of who's doing what. I think he's just looking at the floor, who is missing defensive assignments, who didn't rotate, who didn't make a mental mistake. I think there's certain things he looks on at as he looks on the floor, and everything else is just meaningless to him. And if it was a role player, because Randle is is your top player, he may rethink it being who it is. But if it's a role player and it's time to get out, he'll get you out of there. Because he's just old school, man. This guy is the quintessential old school coach, blue collar, let's win now. And those type of personalities and those type of coaches, if they waver at all, you run the risk of losing, the belief of the player. Because once they see you slip up, especially if you're a coach that you run a system or you run a philosophy that's not even attractive to the modern day player, he has to remain who he is. Because if he folds at all, I guarantee you behind closed doors, IQ probably doesn't like the fact that he's always yelling at him. I don't think these players really are in love with that type of coaching, but he has credibility. He has respect around the league, and you have to buy in. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get it. Tom Thibodeau is, he can be tough. He can be likable by the players, I think, right? But tough. So he has that kind of personality thing going on. I know when as a player myself, when the coach was tough, right? You could be mad about it, like, damn, coach is always on my back, this, that, and the third. But I've always found those are the guys that I ended up having the best relationships with. The guys who did it right, though. Right? The guys that, while they were tough and they had their standards and they were going to uphold their standards no matter what. But when practice was over, you know, you could sit down and they could, you know, talk with you. You could have a good time talking with them, laugh. You know, they might play with you one-on-one. I had a coach that used to slap box with us in the locker room. You know what I mean? But he was a hard ass when we got out on the floor. Wasn't taking no shorts. I mean, I don't know how many times he slammed and broke his clipboard up against the wall. You know what I'm saying? Because people were in practice, you know, laughing and joking and doing this and doing that, and then make us run, stop everything in practice and make us run the entire practice. You know what I mean? Because we weren't focused. But you come to respect those kind of coaches, I think. You know, and you want to please those kind of guys. And I think that's what Tom Thibodeau has with these guys here. They may not like everything that he does, the way he handles things, the way he handles rotations, but he does it and you know he's going to do it. And so you ain't trying to cross it because you're basically in a no-win situation, right? You're not going to win.
You know what he is, Sam? He's one of those type of coaches or people in life that, as you say, you don't actually even realize the impact they've had on you until a little bit later on. So in other words, now, as he's coaching this team, as he's coaching Quickley or Obi or Knox or, you know, so on and so forth, Randall, they're not going to even, whether you want to say appreciate or know some of the things that he was trying to instill in them until either after he leaves or after they move on to another team and you reflect back and you say, now I know. Because in life, that's how I was. You know, the other day I was an alumni for a sports team and we had kind of like an alumni meeting to kind of rekindle and reconnect from the past. Mm-hmm. And I had this coach when I was a teenager who was just, he was a pain. You know, at that age, I'm thinking he was a pain. Always getting on me, always trying to tell me that I had leadership potential, and I wasn't buying any of it. And I thought he was too difficult on me. And it wasn't until I became an adult, moved on later in life, and was presented with new challenges that I realized, now I know what you were trying to say. And so I made it a point in that meeting to let him know, you remember when you used to get on me and we know none of the players used to like you, and now we all love you. Now we all know what you were trying to say. So that's how it is with Tibbs, man, because you know he means well and he just wants to win, man. Sometimes he wants to win more than players.
Yeah, right, and that's what it's all about. Go ahead, Kareem.
Yeah, I like what Jonathan just said. I had a math teacher, and she was really hard. I ain't gonna lie. With her, you would go to detention and everything, you know. And that was my favorite high school teacher. You know, because, you know, I like for example with Derrick Rose. Remember when he did that? You know, he pulled that stunt when he went back home.
Mm-hmm.
And when he played with us the first time. And, you know, looking at Derrick Rose coming back here, I think that a player like Derrick Rose realizes that he needs a coach like Thibodeau.
Right.
Because if he doesn't have that, he's not going to walk the path. He's not going to walk the straight line.
Right.
And, you know, I think that we like, and somebody just said it in the chat room, Miles Boyd. A lot of us need that structure to hold ourselves accountable, you know, to, you know, basically stay focused, you know, and I think Derrick Rose likes that in Thibodeau, where he forces him to be accountable.
Right.
You know, he doesn't let him let up, you know, and a team like this, we need that because I feel like every rebuilding team needs that. Because a lot of teams are bad because they're just allowed to do what they want to do. There's no structure, you know. So I'm glad he's here, man. I'm glad he's here.
And you know too, like if you want to see a little bit of evidence, you see Rose. You know he's back, but I'm pretty sure he did some behind the scenes thing to come back, and I'm pretty sure all he hears about is how Tibbs ran him to the ground, and yet look how he's connected with Thibodeau.
He's right back. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The Karl Anthony Towns. Are we so sure that it wasn't Karl Anthony Towns camp that leaked the fact that Thibodeau is open to reconnecting? Aren't we so sure that now, as Karl Anthony Towns has a new coach who was fired, he doesn't see, oh, now I know what Tibbs was trying to do. You know, so
hey, Tim, can I say
Andrew Wiggins mentioned that in Golden State. You know, he had the beef with Jimmy Butler, and they were saying that they didn't connect. And Andrew Wiggins saying that he appreciated everything that Tibbs did for him. So you see it also with actual evidence that's happening now, where it's just, you know, while you're with him, you may not like him. It may be hard to buy in, but sooner or later you'll start to see the actual impact that you know he has as a coach.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, City, go ahead, man. We got City on the line. Go ahead, City.
Hey, Sim, shout out to you, Sim. Shout out to Kareem, JD, Devon, you know. I think this is media-driven when they start talking about Tibbs running players into the ground and all of that types of stuff, because at the end of the day, when you really look at it, when you're a player, you don't want to come out the game. Unless you are just super tired, you don't ever want to come out the game. You want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And for the NBA, they keep snubbing us, man. They snubbed RJ last year. They snubbed Quickley this year. They bias against our young players, man.
I mean, you know, sometimes I feel like they say, you know, we want to send you guys a message. You guys are feeling yourself a little bit too much. Watch this. Quickly, he's not getting in. You know what I'm saying? But,
right.
Hey, you know, we got to deal with it. This is the NBA, man.
And
you know,
it's in the second half.
I know you got the callers and stuff, right. But, yo, shout out to everybody, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
What do you guys think about
So
this,
you guys
man?
talked about that?
About what? IQ?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it, man, about IQ being snubbed. We talked about it. He got snubbed. He got snubbed. I mean, there's some good competition there, but kind of got, you know, it's a little bit of a snub.
It's a business. Like if you wanna just look at comparison, I mean, you can just look at the first pick. We don't even have to look at the other players. We could just look at the first pick of the overall draft, Anthony Edwards. And he's not playing better than Quickley. I mean, he's shooting worse from the field goal percentage. Mm-hmm. He's shooting 37%. He's shooting 31% from three, and Quickley shooting about 39%. And over, you know, his last 10 games, you know, Anthony Edwards is shooting 35% from the field goal and 28% from three. His last 10 games. And he's getting more minutes than Quickley. He's shooting worse from the free throw line, from field goal, from three, you know? And so, you know, Immanuel Quickley on his last 10 games, he's shooting 44% from three. But I just think it's one of those things where he is the number one pick in the draft. And although the game is not being played, it's a business. Like, how would it look for the number one pick on a small market team franchise for him not to even make any type of, you know, over someone where they say, well, RJ Barrett's already in there, so the Knicks are represented. Because I do think this is what goes on when there's like, they look at, you know, these little small things and they want to sell us that it was on performance, or they want to sell us on different types of things. But if you want to talk about winning, you know, the team is winning more than a lot of the players that are there. Denny Avdia is averaging 6 points and 4 rebounds a game. How does he make? You know what I mean? So and you can't talk about record there because they're worse than the Knicks. So I just think it's frustrating. But if we want to really look at it, I think it's a business. They want to get the number one pick there. The Knicks are already represented with RJ, and that's the tough thing about the NBA. And on the grand scheme of things, mainstream media, they're not giving the Knicks anything until the Knicks either go 5 games over 500 or until the season's actually over and it's real that the Knicks made the playoffs.
Right.
Because until then, all they're doing is saying, well, the Heat will turn it around. They'll make the playoffs. The Celtics, yeah, they're struggling. They're 500 or under, but they'll turn it around. And when it comes to the Knicks, the Knicks are 18 and 17. The Knicks are 18 and 18. And it's like, yeah, we're better. We have a better record right now than a lot of these teams. You guys are saying, oh, don't worry about it. They'll be fine. So I think
Jonathan, I can understand that narrative, though, because those teams were expected to make it and we weren't.
Right.
So, but I do agree with you. But I just say we just got to embrace being the villains this year. Let's feed off of making people upset and skeptical, man. I love it. Yeah, let's be the villain.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Guess
man.
what, too? Guess what, too? It's also, I mean, you mean to tell me that the whole Max Kellerman and bringing him on and creating that energy wasn't, part of a little bit of, hey, let's bring some attention over our way. And you're going to get that with the Knicks. All you have to do is be a mainstream outlet and post anything, even remote. Like you can post a sentence and there could be one word that can be looked at as potential shade, and Knicks fans will figure that out. And they'll flood the whole thing.
And that's what they do. And that's what these media outlets do, man. They use the Knicks. They say, let's do something. Oh, we're not, and no news going on. Well, let's say something about the Knicks. We'll get something going, right? I want to bring light to Bacher Back Pages, ladies and gentlemen, by Space Lead Media. This is pretty dope. If you guys are on Twitter, you've probably seen it. And I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start, showing some of these back pages, the Bacher Back Pages on the show, man. This is pretty dope right here. This is what was out today with the Bacher Back Page. It says Palpatine prevails. Obviously, talk about last night's game. Dark Lords take this one, but Obi-Wan and the boys will strike back. Says Rose woes. Our point guard gets caught up by the protocol police. Then you got buckets and baguettes one night in Paris. You got Frank Ntilikina. It says Frankie smokes adores the Amour from Tibbs. Shines in the spot to start with a baker's dozen. He had 13 points last night. Bacher Back Pages, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty dope. We're going to keep that as a little episode we do on the show. That's dope, man. I like that.
I read some of that stuff. Yeah, I read some of the stuff. Yeah, I read
the picture. It looked hilarious, man.
Yeah, I like that. Bacher Back Pages.
But Sim, do you think that? Because I'm listening. I just heard you say the word protocol. Do you think he missed the COVID test or something like that?
No, he didn't miss.
He got there late and missed the testing.
No, his test came in inconclusive.
Oh,
right. So
was the test effective?
We don't know. I don't know. His test was inconclusive, and then he took, since taking that test, he's taken other tests which were negative. So maybe it was that test, but they couldn't take any chances.
Okay, got it. Right. Yeah, because now I'm like protocol. Okay, because I thought something happened. I'm like, come on, here we go, man. Okay,
that's
so
what I was thinking.
Game, yeah, I'm like,
that's what I was thinking.
Now I hear the word protocol. It makes sense.
Right. I want to know what you guys think about this, man. James Harden. This is other Knicks news. Not Knicks news. Other news. Other NBA news. James Harden's number is going to be retired in Houston. Does he deserve that? Devon, what you think? Does his number deserve to be retired in Houston?
How many seasons James Harden played there? About seven seasons he played there.
Maybe 7 seasons.
He about 7. You know what? He got him close, man. You know what I mean? James. I don't have no problem with him doing that because I don't know what they qualify as. Why you retire a jersey, like the Knicks hanging some up in the Raptors, a certain person can get up there. I don't know how important that is to their franchise. What do it mean to them? But James Harden kept them competitive ever since he's been there. You know what I mean? They didn't get the chip, but he had them in the playoffs all the time. He one of the better players in the league. So I don't have a problem with Houston doing it from a standpoint. If you look at other than Hakeem and Clyde Drexler, they never really had a lot of stars other than James Harden, Hakeem, Drexler. They have great other players, but they wasn't superstars. James Harden is a superstar and considered a superstar player down in Houston. So other than not winning the championship, but you just for the sake of the franchise, James Harden did get that franchise a lot of good years. You know, he put them on his back and carried them when they got Chris Paul. They got all these guys. They couldn't get over the hump. And that could be because of maybe what D'Antoni was running, or maybe they didn't have no defense, or they went small ball. I don't think that was his fault because they didn't get all the way to the pinnacle. But I think he bought that franchise from a little bit of trying to come out of nothing to something until they traded him. So I don't have no problem with it. I think he gave him 7 years worth of good basketball here. He was killing it in Houston. Actually, they gave him $200 million. So I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it though.
Yeah, and like you said, I guess it's that organization's determination of greatness, right? Who do you? I mean, you got people like Hakeem Olajuwon from that organization, whose number is obviously retired. I don't know if it's retired yet. If not, it should be. It probably is. I mean, he clearly wasn't Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was. I mean, James Harden did some things over there. I guess it's just like asking, should Melo's jersey be retired in New York? You know what I mean? And there'll be differing opinions on that. James Harden, while he was in Houston, man, he definitely balled out while he was over there. Some people could say, that he is the reason why that they didn't win. Some people would say that because of his style of play. I don't know if it was him or if it was D'Antoni who said, "Hey, we got this guy here. We're gonna play around what he does." You know what I'm saying? It really is hard to say. But while he was in Houston, he got there in 2012, 2013. He averaged 26 points. 26 points and what? 26 points and 6 assists. 2013-14, he averaged 26 points and 6 assists. 14-15, 27 points and 7 assists. 15-16, 29 points and 7.5 assists. 16-17, 29 points and 11 assists. 17-18, 30 points and 9 assists. 18-19, he averaged 36 points and 7.5 assists. 19-20, 34 points, 7.5 assists. In 2020, 2021, he averaged 25 points and 10 assists. I mean, he did his thing while he was over there. You can't argue with that.
And it was a Chris Paul injury away from going to the finals. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, Chris Paul got hurt that last game of that season. I guess the playoffs against that Golden State Warriors, and James Harden couldn't do it by himself. But if Chris Paul wouldn't got hurt, I think it might be a whole different scenario where they was giving it to the Golden State Warriors. But my man, Chris Paul went down, so that could be a deciding factor too. But after what you just read, he definitely should be up there, man. I mean, that kid, he put it down in Houston, man. I mean, I just think that was D'Antoni, them getting rid of Clint Capella, going small ball, and I'm like, come on, what is you doing, man? So yeah, I think they should throw him up there. I think they should.
What you think, JD? What do you think? What's your take on it, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, growing up, I always, the way you always grew on milestones. If it was baseball, it was 300 wins for a pitcher. It was 3,000 hits or so for a hitter. Like there was certain milestones that you would hit to automatically qualify you to certain status. And now, he had 9 seasons with the Rockets. He averaged almost 30 points a game in his career with the Rockets. He definitely performed. So statistically, yeah, he definitely is a player that's qualified to be a Hall of Famer, to do all the accolades for him. But I mean, I think I don't really know, to be honest. I don't really know. Like it just sounds like it's a little bit of a stretch. Just because he didn't win, but then do you also consider the fact that he played in the Golden State era? Patrick Ewing played in that Jordan era, and some of us don't really hold it against him because who was going to win in the Jordan era? Do you consider that and say, yeah, he deserves to have his number retired? But I don't know, because I always think at some point in 50, 60 years, are we even going to have numbers to play? We're gonna have to go into. Are we gonna go into the hundreds?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna go into triple digits.
Yeah, because if you have someone that has 8-9 seasons for a team and just averages, the averages he has, is that going to be the new criteria just to start retiring everyone's numbers and stuff? I don't know. I just think like when you're saying that nobody ever, ever, ever for generations and generations will never wear that number. I mean, do you think a championship has to be attached to that or no?
I don't think so because like you talked about Patrick Ewing. When you look at Patrick Ewing, he played for the Knicks for 15 seasons, right? And he made the playoffs. I mean, he made the All-Star game 11, 12 times or something like that, or 13 times in those 15 seasons. He brought the Knicks to the playoffs. I mean, he had some really historical moments for the Knicks. If it wasn't for Patrick Ewing being here for all that time, the Knicks probably wouldn't have been in the playoffs. Throughout the 90s.
I guess because since Harden didn't go into that whole, he didn't go into the 10, 11, 12, 15, like he didn't go into that much of a tenure there. Although in today's era, that's one thing. We're in a different era.
Yeah.
In today's era, where there's more player movement, it's rare for you to see a Reggie Miller, a Patrick Ewing, like these players that have a decade plus on one team. That's why it's difficult because, if you're going to retire someone's jersey that played 7, 8, or 9 seasons, that's why I asked, should a championship be attached to that? If he would have played 12 to 15 seasons, to me, that's enough to say, okay, it justifies it.
Hey, Sam, excuse me. You know what else I think they're going by? It's not so much, and I agree with JD on a lot of points, but I think it's about more what did you do for the organization, not so much an accolade. I think they say the accolade for the Hall of Fame and all that, but I think it's what he contributed to that organization. Yeah. He made them relevant, you know what I mean? And I think that's what they're looking at. These players make them relevant and not, so he might win a scoring title here or there. And I just think that they probably looking at, if it weren't for James Harden in Houston, we probably wouldn't be where we are as a franchise. So they want to say, out of respect, because you helped the franchise get to a level, we want to throw you up there, so you can always be remembered what you did for the franchise, opposed to probably what you won. So I think that a lot of them, like Steve Nash, it's going to be even Melo probably get his number retired, whether with Denver Nuggets or the Knicks, but what they meant to the franchise in a whole. And maybe I think that's where they probably going with this stuff, other than, because if you ain't really, like JD said, if you haven't really won a championship, I think them type of accolades gets you in the Hall of Fame almost to me, compared to, so I don't know if that's the case, but I probably would have used some banking off of, hey, you know what, you helped us, you put us for the last 2012 to now, you made our city, you made our basketball organization relevant because people tuned in to watch James Harden put in work, for this franchise. And I think that's what they probably trying to contribute it to.
And that's a good point, Devon, because basically what you're saying is it's a case by case basis,
right?
You know, whereas, and that's what I'm saying. Growing up, we grew up where certain milestones and numbers and accolades and accomplishment meant so much, and it was all around throughout the whole league. If you didn't reach this milestone, you were not going to get, said accolade. But now it's more of a franchise to franchise thing, because if James Harden was a Laker and he didn't do, he had the same numbers, the same seasons, and the Lakers would have announced today that they would have retired his jersey, they would have gone crazy.
Right.
Why? Because of the Lakers' history.
The history, right.
Their franchise, their history, like the Lakers' expectations is championships, or we don't even, you're not going to be on the top list. So,
but Sam.
Yeah.
Here's my take on it. Man, they gonna retire his number this season?
I don't know. I didn't even read the article. I just read the headline. Right. I just read the headline, so I'm not even sure.
Yeah, because I'm like, who gets their jersey retired in the middle of their career? Like that's odd to me. Like, and because that's what I was thinking. If they're talking about right now, I understand after he retires, because you can say that he is one of the Houston greats. So I could understand that, but if we talking right now, that would be ridiculous, and optically, that would look bad. You know,
Right. And you know, I'm
it would make
thinking,
Houston look like,
yeah, let me see what they said, right? Because I just looked at the headline. I didn't look to see when they, and I'm assuming that they were just saying he's definitely going to be, you know, his jersey's going to be hanging in the rafters. I don't know if they were saying right now because Brooklyn plays Houston tonight, so he's returning to Houston. You know what I mean? So I think they were, yeah, I think they were just saying, you know, that they will do it. That's all. Despite everything that happened in the way that.
Trash.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
My apologies. It was some latency. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. What you say now?
No, I was saying, go ahead. My apologies. It's latency. So I'm hearing you. You probably, you know, it's probably like a 5-second delay.
Yeah.
You know, as we have the discourse. So I was saying, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah. I think they're talking about doing it in the future. I don't think they're talking about doing it now. You know, they just said Houston to retire James Harden's jersey. He will always be a Rocket. So this is from the Houston Chronicle. Said James Harden will always be a Rocket. Of course, we will retire his jersey. He made my first 3 years of owning the franchise unforgettable. The success he brought this franchise over 8 years and the memories he created for our fan base are truly remarkable. That's the owner, Tillman Fertitta. The owner, Tillman Fertitta. So it didn't say when. I'm assuming it's going to be sometime in the future.
Yes, sir.
You know,
okay. Yeah. So definitely. I agree. Like, yeah, man, that man, like he beast mode, man. You know, man. But I like what John. I don't know who brought it up about the CP3, and because you know James Harden is his playoff numbers, they leave much to be desired. Exactly. You know, as far as like clutch. But what Chris Paul brought him was the reason why they had the success they had was because it was the first time in the finals which they took the ball out of his hands. You got to take the ball out of a play, like his hands in the playoffs, or he's gonna go nuts. That step back is not working. All of this stuff you do in a regular season, it's not gonna work in a 7-game series, and it showed, you know. But he's like, without a doubt, one of the greatest Rockets to ever play.
Yeah,
Sam,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I gotta give him the Patrick Ewing and the Carmelo Anthony treatment. You know why? They went up against teams who just had that superior dude. You know what I mean? Like James Harden, 9 years, he had to go up against Golden State like 4 years. He had to go up against the Big Three in Miami. He had to go up against all these teams that were just dominant. Like Ewing, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, Melo had to, you know, he could never get out of the ring because you had LeBron, you had Kobe Bryant. It's like James Harden just never was on that team that was built to win it all. You know what I mean? It was either him and a couple of role players until they got CP3, and then last year they got Westbrook, and that thing was a debacle. But it seemed like, and I think for that point, give him credit on that, is that he went up against some of the KD, and Steph Warriors. He went up against the Big Three in Miami. He went up against all these teams. Like he's like, I can't get over this hump because I ain't got that other guy to get down with me. So in that point, I can understand, you know, why the Houston feel the way they feel about him. Because, man, that boy been through some battles, man. He made me think of Ewing because Ewing and Michael Jordan was blocking him Ewing all his career. So it seemed like that's what James Harden was dealing with. He was dealing with other teams who just were superior, and he could never get
He was in the Western Conference, baby.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what helps
Western Conference, man.
What's probably going to help his case is you see what they are now and where they're most likely headed. So that's going to.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You know, it's not like
right. I mean, yeah. You look at what Hey, before we get out of here, I want to ask you guys before we get out of here, and this is something that was posted by Overtime Sports, right? Posted by Overtime. I want to know if you know what this sport is, and some of you guys may have already seen it. Let me bring this thing in here. And take the sound down. And I'm going to get it up here so you guys can see it. Do you know what this sport is? Have you ever seen this sport before? They're on a basketball court, right? They're wrestling. They're not dribbling the basketball. They're passing it. I don't know what it is. Craziest sport I've ever seen in my life.
Rugby basketball. That's what
Rugby basketball or something.
Like you got an offensive line there, some D tackles.
They're fighting on the floor.
Dude just want to talk.
And look at the two guys over there holding each other. What type of formation?
I have no idea what this is.
I want to touch you basketball.
I have no idea what that is right there. If anybody can tell me what that is,
just shot the
please.
Ball. He just shot the ball.
Yeah, they're shooting the ball.
Oh, he just slammed them.
If someone can please tell me what that is.
This is a quarantine event sponsored by the World Health Organization and FEMA.
Yo,
and,
that is the
CDC.
craziest. I don't know, man. Craziest sport I ever seen.
I think like my man said, rugby balling and so that's what my man said in the chat. That's what they do. It look like a rugby ball.
Brought to you by Johnson and Johnson.
I wonder how practices are like. Like, what do you practice?
Exactly. What do you practice?
I bet the time people are like them in practice, though.
How do you get better?
Right. How do you get better at that? You know what I mean? All right. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
You got to give them the Iverson speech in the post game and the pregame too. It's practice. What we talking about? Practice?
Right.
Go out there and grab each other.
Craziest thing, man. But I don't know what that is.
That was a good find, Sam. That was a good find.
Right.
They got jumpers though. I ain't gonna lie.
They were shooting jumpers and everything. Like.
It looked like they got our wrestling uniforms too.
That's what they had on. They had on wrestling uniforms.
Right, wrestling uniforms.
Yeah, that's.
They had on wrestling uniforms. It's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna head up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for jumping on. The Knicks take on the Pistons tomorrow night. Hopefully, Derrick Rose will be there, and we can go ahead and take these guys up out of here. Take them out of there.
Great, looking good. Yeah, 19.
I do want to just let everybody know. Listen, on March 10th, Wednesday, March 10th, the front stoop is going to be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, right?
yes. The front stoop is going to be back. We'll be back live on March 10th. So please subscribe to the front stoop and join us. We're going to be talking hip hop, society, life. Yes. All right. Just great discussion all the way around, just talking about things that's going on in music and in the world and all kinds of stuff. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Listen, we've had Ice-T on the show, Mortal Technique on the show, DMC on the show, MC Search on the show. All right. Fred the Godson's brother's been on the show. You know what I mean? So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm not saying those people like that's coming out all the time, right? But they've been on the show and you'll enjoy it. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel right now and look for the notification on March 10th. We'll let you know what time we're going live on March 10th, but it's going to be dope. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to create the same type of atmosphere we have here on MBK. We're trying to recreate it on the front stoop. All right, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel and be ready so we can get 300-400 people on there live too. Felipe said it's called reg ball, and you guessed it, it's from Russia. Okay, I'm not playing that kind of ball. You can trust that. B-Sun07, thank you for the super chat. He said, how do I get on the panel? Salute MBK. B-Sun, I sent you a message in the YouTube chat. You're still there. With a link that you can use to become a member, and when you become a member, then you can access the link to get on to the video chat. So,
Tim, you have a few people asking for the link of the front stoop.
For the link for the front stoop, if you look, I pinned the link to the top of the page. But what I'll do is I'll put it in here once again, but not the top of the page. I pinned the link to the top of the YouTube chat. If you check out at the top of the YouTube chat, there's a link there for the front stoop, but I'm going to put it in there one more time so you guys can go ahead and subscribe to the front stoop. And I should have told you that from the beginning. But let me get it in here right now. Make sure you subscribe to the Front Stoop. And yes, like I said, March 10th, man, we'll be back live. It's been a minute. You know what I mean? I haven't been able to get content up there like I want to. We'll be back live. And it's not just us talking either. You know what I mean? I have independent music that we play on there. We do shows where we review independent music. Whole lot of stuff. So it's dope. Make sure you get on there with us. And
yeah, I remember you had that 24-hour radio.
Yeah. I'm looking to come back with that too. The 24-hour radio where people can get in there and chat of all independent music. Trying to promote independent artists, man. So yeah, make sure you get on there. Make sure you check us out. Big shout out to DSpiz35. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. We'll catch you tomorrow about 3:30 to do the game preview. And Knicks Real Talk will be on tomorrow morning about 7:30. So make sure that you check that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your day. Gone. Spread love, ladies and gentlemen.